what is the difference between untimely death and natural death? Untimely death occurs at an untimely time. I always say this, if death were to be untimely, then what would be timely? We say akal mrityu, we say untimely death when we feel someone we love has left earlier than they could have or should have. All deaths are natural. All deaths have a certain cause. Whether somebody meets with an accident, the cause is the accident. Whether somebody is shot, the cause is that shooting. Whether somebody dies of certain terminal disease, the cause is a disease. Whether somebody dies of some cause where their heart stops beating, what is really natural? It's not like the life has to flee out of your body and you're gasping for breath and you are 85 or 95 or 105 years old, and then when we die we say this person died of natural causes. All deaths are natural deaths. Some are harder to accept, that's all. Wherever there is human intervention, wherever we think this could have been avoided, had this person not been on that bus, he or she would still be alive. It's very hard to accept that fact because we think, oh, I wish I could have told, or they would have known, or the bus driver would have taken more care. So to think, the moment I classify a death as untimely versus natural, if it's untimely, I would be deeply distressed and I would keep looking for solutions. I will keep going to pundits and tantrics and other people asking, is the soul free? Is it liberated? And what can I do? And so on and so forth. The thing is, each soul has a journey to complete on this planet. Even if somebody takes life in their own hands, it is only an illusion. Because it was supposed to be that way. That's why it happened that way. So even if somebody, ends their own life, even that is not an untimely death. But yes, the most painful thing is to see somebody go well ahead of the time in terms of how the rest of the world is operating. If most people are dying in their 80s and somebody leaves their body in their 40s or 30s or 20s, we say it's tragic. So we have equated the term natural with the normal. We think what is normal is natural, which may not always be the case. These two are different things. And what is so phenomenal about living anyway? I mean, who's happy really? Let's face it. It's only so temporary. You have to work so hard to keep yourself happy, to keep the other person happy. So if there is an early call, it's not such a bad thing. Once again, you will have the chance to be born again. Once again, you will be kicking in somebody's stomach. Once again, you will come out and make somebody's life hell. Once again, you will have the joys of growing up, making mistakes, learning from those mistakes, facing the challenges of life. Once again, you'll have the chance to grow up. None of this is possible without dying. So, and many years ago, I was with a friend of mine. We were driving, and he was driving, I was sitting, and we were driving past a cemetery. And he said, look, what a place. People die to get in there. People are willing to die to get in there. In fact, they have to die to get in there. So, anything So I hope that was the answer to your question, but I'd just like to add one little thing. Anything, anybody who creates fear in your mind of anything at all, you really have to question the intent of that person as well as the wisdom of that person. Because anything spiritual is supposed to set you free, not create fear in your mind. Be fearless. Be prepared, which will give you the courage to face whatever life throws at you. And be fearless. We'll cross the bridge when we come to it. Why be afraid of things just in anticipation? We will see what happens then, and we'll face it. If you just live from one moment to the next with that mindset, you will be liberated while in this body. So his question is, when we do a purushcharana, any anushtana of any kind, if, let's say, it's to be done over 40 days, and there is some kind of obstacle or obstruction in between because of which you have to stop, do you then resume where you left off? It depends, A, who gave you that purushcharana, and what rules or principles they gave you. It depends on, B, what the actual mantra is. And finally, it depends on at what stage on the path in terms of progression you are. The more advanced you are, the more you can break the rules. You can break any rule if you have championed it. But if you try to break a rule without first mastering it, we don't know what the outcome may be. If the source of the mantra, let's say your guru or a book, is quiet about it, then ideally you should restart. But we should also use some wisdom to make that decision. If you are on day 32 and there's a death in the family or in the extended family, or you have to travel for some reason, unavoidable reason, and you've only got 8 days left, I would say fine, resume. But if you're on day 5 and that break comes, and then you say, I'm going to restart, chances are another obstacle will be waiting for you at day 10 and day 15. So try your best to not break. But if must you, then restart. If that's not an option for whatever reason, resume. So worst case scenario is to not do it. Something better than that is to resume. Best is to restart. And you make the decision based on what you can do. There is, I don't know if I've written that in the ancient science of mantras. So the method stated in our scriptures and approved by the first person who gave me the mantra, at least I can share the method with you, and then you decide if you want to use it. If you have to be away for 2 or 3 days, or up to 4 days, up to 96 hours of obstruction, then take a cloth, put some rice in it, tie it, and run that rice under running water for a minute or so, and then tie that rice somewhere where maybe drip by drip some water can keep falling on it, or somehow it remains damp, little wet. And then you can take a break. You can, if you have to go somewhere, you can go for a maximum of 4 days. On the 5th day, open that cloth, that little sack, and then you put those rice for feeding to the birds, and then you resume. So this is the method of restarting, not from scratch, from where you left off. That's stated. And in my life, I don't recall ever having to use it. There's an option. The reason maybe I didn't mention it in the book, because when you know it's an option, chances are you will exercise it. So if it isn't there, then you will just say, look, I have to do my sadhana. If you say, कल चावल बांध दूंगा, कल चलेंगे, गोवा जाना है, चलेंगे 4 दिन के लिए, or something like that.